Unnecessary intro song to totally waste your time. All right, so this is going to be the most controversial topic I've ever discussed here on the old opinion machine. Yes, it's more controversial than racism. It's more controversial than trans people. It's more controversial than Donald Trump. It's more controversial than anything. Homosexuality. Sexuality in general. It's more controversial than COVID. Yes, my friends, we are going to talk about shopping carts and shopping cart Karens. This is a topic that over the last 3 or 4 days has been keeping me unnecessarily occupied on Twitter by no less than conservatives calling me, well, let's just back up. The question was asked by Viva Fry and somebody else, he was responding, do you always return your shopping cart? And he said, I always do, not only because I'm afraid that if I don't, somebody will yell at me. You know? Pretty honest answer, but he also said, I always do. My answer was simple. I simply said, it depends. You know, it depends on my experience with the business. If my experience with the business is good, you know, short lines, fair prices, pleasant experience, I got a value for my money, sure, I'll return the cart. However, if it was long lines and poor experience, the business treats the customer poorly, there's a sense of entitlement, I will go, no. Okay? I feel like that's a rational take. You know, it depends. And pretty much, it depends is kind of the answer to every question. Any question you give me, I'm probably going to start off with it depends, because there isn't usually a hard answer to things. It's like, well, give me more information. What's the background? You know? But anyway, that's set off of a series of angry replies like, you entitled piece of shit. Oh, you had a bad day and now you're going to take it out on everybody else. And, you know, there's just a number of responses. You're childish. You're an emotional child. You're going to take it out on everybody else because you had a terrible experience in the thing. It's just like, okay, I didn't say a terrible experience, but fine. Anyway, just really emotional reactions. And sadly, I have the time and the stamina to deal with people like this. You know, I ask simple questions like, okay, do you always, you know, because the thing is these people that were responding, there seems to be a group of people in this world, and I've seen them before, there is a group of people in this world that have certain rules and you must abide by them or you must be punished. You know, social contract, it's the social contract. These are the rules. You're either good, if you abide by the rules, you're a good person. If you don't, you're a bad person. You know, that's the way it is. I call these people tyrants, authoritarians. I don't care what it is, but if you have the rule and you demand, I mean, we're not talking about don't murder people, but even then, it depends. Would you ever kill somebody? It depends. Do you believe in murder? It depends. You know, it depends. Because I can imagine a scenario where it would be rational to murder somebody, you know? But what's interesting here, and the reason why I bring it up, is you expect this from the Kovid Karens, right? But it's weird how often you'll find people that are supposedly on your same team. They might have voted for the same guy. They might say they have the same platform. But yet, in a scenario like this, they instantly turn into the Kovid Karen they turn into a shopping cart Karen. There's no leeway. There's no nuance. It's you must return your cart because that's the way I think it should be. It doesn't matter to me what your experience is with the store or why or what your rationale is. Doesn't matter if you're crippled. Doesn't matter if the store owner slept with your friend 3 weeks ago. Whatever. The variables don't matter. What matters is me. And I was trying to test these people because I'd go to their feeds, and they had, a lot of them, because it was on a Viva Fry post. A lot of the people that follow Viva Fry are people that overlap with me on a lot of things. So, I would even search their feeds for how they reacted in COVID. And these are people that didn't get vaccinated, and they rejected the shot and everything else. But yet that consistency, that minding your own business, letting people live their own lives, doesn't track with shopping carts. It's quite an anomaly. I don't know. I assume that this would be a leftist point of view too. In other words, I think this is one of those fun little tests of authoritarian versus libertarian. That political compass that's left or right. Are you left or are you right? That doesn't matter as much to me, where somebody falls in on the left-right thing. Even though I often mock leftism and talk about the right and the left and blah, 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 because sometimes I'm not very thoughtful and I'm in a hurry. But really the axis that matters is the up and down authoritarian or libertarian. Do you allow other people to live the way they want to live? Or do you think they have to conform to the way you want to live? One of the people said, so you had a bad day in there, now we have to maneuver around your shopping cart? I'm like, well, you had to maneuver around my shopping cart when I was in there. In fact, you always have to maneuver around people, because if you walk through them, that vaporizes them and it murders them. And murder, again, sometimes justified, but probably not just because you want to get to the frozen peas quicker. In life, you have to maneuver around other people. Or maybe when you're stuck in traffic, you just drive through the minivan in front of you, vaporizing all the children, and you get where you're going. Oh, you don't? You actually maneuver around them? Yeah, we maneuver around people. Other people exist in the universe. It's not just you. You are the center of your universe, and they are the center of their universe. This is a fact. Any point is the center of its universe, because everything around it is around it forever. It expands. So any point you identify is literally the center of that universe. This is kind of the way I go through life. And I think this is kind of the libertarian idea. It's like individualism is not just respecting that you're an individual, but that everybody else is an individual and they have ideas that they want to do, And these people, again, on this Twitter thing, you'd be like, yeah, but social contract, everybody else. It's like, okay, but that's the exact same argument that all the Kovid Karens were screaming, put on your mask, Granny's gonna die. Your right to not wear a mask ends at my face where I might breathe your air. It's like, okay, so I don't have a right to exist, because of you might breathe my fart, Let alone my fart comes through my pants, by the way. Just so you know. And that's the argument I always said. I said, excuse me, you want me to wear a mask, but if I fart in my pants, can you smell it? End of argument. But people get upset. I'm telling you, people get upset. And I had the stamina, and some of these guys just wouldn't stop. I'm like, okay, we'll see. I got time. You comment, I'll comment. And that's a big mistake, by the way, because I wasn't communicating with some of the smartest people. They weren't smart. These aren't thoughtful people. They are tyrants. You know, unless you be thinking, I can kind of feel your vibe right now. Somebody out there is listening. Out of the 3 people that listen to this thing, one of you is going, oh, God, a fucking Merkley. It figures he wouldn't take his cart back. Wrong. I didn't say that. I said it depends. Now, a little bit of personal story. I take my cart back almost every single time. Just like how I tip almost every single time. And I'm a good tipper when I tip, almost every single time. But I reserve the right to not tip in order to nudge the universe into a direction that I want it. You know? If somebody treats me poorly, I'm not going to tip them. It's just not going to happen. If you treat me poorly, if you ignore me, I'm not going to tip you. I don't care what your story is. I don't care what the backstory is. You can tell me that later in a card. You can write me an email and tell me what was behind you treating me poorly if you want to. I don't know that I will forward a delayed tip on after that, but the explanation, I'm here to hear it. But in that instance, it's just like, no, you ruined my day. I'm not going to pay you for that. Because doing that rewards that bad behavior. And I'm not going to reward a bad behavior because I trust free markets. The market decides. But if you're not, the market can't decide if you can't play part in the market. And that's what's weird about these fake conservatives or these fake libertarians. I don't even know. Quite frankly, I just don't get along with authoritarians at all. It's not right or left. It's authoritarians. It's tyrants. Fuck you. I won't do what you tell me. I love that song. Turned out it was written by a band that wants you to do what the government tells you, ironically. Thank you, sir. Give me another mask. I will wear it. Doesn't have quite the ring to it. Wouldn't be a hit song. But, yeah, and the questions I was asking is, do you make your own bed after you leave a hotel? When you stay in a hotel, do you take up the sheets, walk down the hall, do the laundry, go back, make your bed, vacuum the room, and leave? Or do you consider that part of the service? I'm old. I remember when shopping carts... Another question. These are things that... Do people hate trains? I like trains. I like seeing the shopping cart guy put as many shopping carts together as he possibly can to push them around. I like it because I relate to that guy. I like his job. I never had that job, but I would like to have that job. That seems to me like probably the best job in the grocery store. To be the shopping cart guy. That's the best one. You get to stay outside. There's this sport aspect to it. You never know where the cart's going to be. You might see one rolling towards a Mercedes, and you might get to rush out and push it away before it dents. There's a lot of excitement to be the shopping cart guy. And then to put them all in a row and push them together like a giant centipede, ass to mouth, and roll them around to see if you can steer it. It's hard to steer that big shopping cart snake, that big train. These fucking shopping cart Karens hate that guy. They don't want him to have a job. They don't want him to have a job at all. They want do-it-yourself checkout. By the way, I do too sometimes, most of the time. Unless there's a fucking line. Now, there you go. That's a perfect example. What is more insulting than a line behind the self-checkout? That's when you know you're dealing with a company that is mocking you. They are flaunting their lack of service. They're like, not only will we not check you out, not only will we stop providing bags, we're going to make you check out yourself, and we're going to make you wait for the pleasure of doing it. And to further mock you, We will have attendants standing by the self-checkouts, showing you, standing there, supervising you, watching you to make sure you do it right. So we're not even going to let you, or we're not going to let you do it yourself with dignity. We're going to literally turn you into an employee and give you a supervisor that you have to wait for if you have a problem. Excuse me, your fucking machine's not working. Hold on, sir, I'm dealing with somebody else. You know? A lie. Am I going to return my cart after that kind of experience? Fuck no, I'm not going to. No fucking way. You're trying to turn me into an employee. Why don't you just invite me to unload the trucks next time? You know? Why don't you say that I have to show up at 6:30 in the morning, unload the trucks, and stock the shelves in order to get the opportunity to buy some toilet paper? Why don't you do that? Anyway, markets. If you don't respond honestly to a store, if you reward them for all these moves, this constant degradation of dignity, you know, remember the days when the customer was always right? That was a little too extreme to me. I don't believe that. I don't think the customer's always right. Not at all. But the attitude that this customer's coming in and giving you the money, you're earning the money, they're giving the money. Just acknowledging that simple exchange, you know?
Yeah, so you're not going to take your cart back because you're mad at an employee. You don't know how bad his day is.
I know that he's getting paid. I know when I see an employee that they are earning money when they're doing it and that they agreed to do the thing to earn the money. You know? I get it if they resent their job. I resent being employed too. You know, I get it. Nobody likes it, but that's why they call it work. That's why they call it a job, and that's why you get paid to do it. You know? Okay. I return my cart every week. I go shopping once a week. I go shopping on street cleaning day because I have to move my van for the street cleaners to come by. And it turns out that the amount of time that it takes me to go do my shopping is the exact amount of time that I got to be gone for the street sign. And I can follow the street cleaner right into my parking spot like a proper old man who has figured out the world. But I shop at this little store that's designed to serve the restaurant industry. So all the guys that own taquerias and sandwich shops, they go here to buy their ingredients. And it turns out that the lines are really short. I pull up, I go in and I shop, and I'm out in 15 minutes tops. No lines. At max, I have to wait for one person. You know, I remember one time being behind two people, you know, but they do that and they immediately open up another line. They pay attention because they're dealing with pros, you know, and they have big carts. They're not even shopping carts necessarily. They're big, you know, what do you call those? Dollies almost, because people get big boxes of things. And it's not in the greatest part of town, so they have security in the parking lot because they don't want to see these dollies and their carts disappearing. So they don't even necessarily want you to return the carts because they have a guy out there always watching to make sure. But I always make sure to return mine anyway because I know the guy in the lot. I know all the people in the store because I've been going there every week for almost a decade. The service is great. The prices are great. Why would I not return the cart? You know, I want to reward that business. Not only that, but I want to have a friendly atmosphere with the people that are in there. And so half the time when I'm trying to return my cart, somebody comes running towards me. I'll get that. Don't worry about it, you know. And then I'll toy around and race them to get the cart returned, you know. Because there's no entitlement there. They're not expecting me to do it. They thank me for doing it. You know, they have allowed me the opportunity to do that, to make the decision. But let me tell you something. If you try to pressure me into making that decision, you're ruining my day anyway. And if you're trying to ruin my day, you can go fuck yourself. All right? I have no patience for that. None. Treat me poorly. When I was younger, you could treat me poorly over and over again, and I had the patience to deal with it because I thought, oh, I have to have friends. I have to be popular. But I don't need friends. I know I don't need friends now. I do need friends, but I've realized that birds and squirrels and dogs and animals and critters and plants make fantastic friends, right? I've got more friends than I ever have. Just fewer and fewer of them are human. Anyway, I executed a rat last night. So there's that too. Don't cross me. Don't fucking cross me. And if you think I'm going to return the cart just because you think I'm supposed to, you can go fuck yourself. In fact, I was responding to people on Twitter. I said, you know what? Your response has not only convinced me that I'm right about the questionable nature of when I'm going to return it or when I'm not, but I have this new thing now that if I go to let's say I go to a regular shopping place like Safeway, which is terrible now, everything's locked up. It's like walking into a prison, lines for self-checkout. You have to get buzzed in and buzzed out. I get it. Politics plays into that. Fuck Gavin Newsom. Fuck this city and everything else. I'm not necessarily saying it's Safeway's fault, but it is kind of too. You know, Safeway's decided that a prison is a better way to nudge the world. I don't know what they think. But I'm not going to just reward it. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, this is fine. I'm fine with this. I'm fine. Put my head down, put my mask on, get vaxxed, get boosted, put my cart back. How about this? How about fuck you? How about fuck you? From now on, if I ever have to go to a store like that, because maybe my store doesn't have something like that, or I'm traveling, and I'm away from my store, I'm going to, instead of not just not bringing my cart back, I'm going to poll a few people on my way out. I'm going to say, so what do you think about returning carts? Do you think it's optional or do you think it's obligatory? And I'm going to wait and I'm going to find a person. I'm gonna find people as they're coming out of their cars, and I'm gonna ask them the question. And when I get a Shopping Kart Karen response, I'm gonna wait till they go in the store. I'm gonna put my cart directly behind their car, or to the side of their car, or how about upwind of their car? I'll position it so if the wind blows, my cart will go into their car. I'll let nature take care of it. I'll be part of the mitigating factor. Because then I get to punish the store and the fucking Shopping Kart Karen. How about that? And the thing in this conversation that was kind of befuddling is that how they tried to flip my attitude. I was trying to explain that you're basically a shopping cart communist tyrant. You're saying that every single person has to have the same behavior. It doesn't matter. No rewards, no punishment, no mitigating factor from nature, no cause and effect. Erase it all, replace it with a rule. Everybody's exactly the same. We all have to abide by the exact same thing. They couldn't grasp, these conservative people couldn't grasp that they were identical to the Kovid Karens. The screeching, masking, mandatory, you can't come in here if you don't do it. You deserve to be treated poorly. You deserve no employment if you want to inject this drug. It's identical. Just fucking return your cart. Just fucking do it. That's what I got most of the time. From these people. No conversation. Just fucking do it and shut up. Stop crying about it. Stop crying about it, faggot. Oh man, that's another thing that is just so predictable about these conservative circles. Is like, and by the way, I kind of do it too, because, you got a bunch of dudes prancing around like they're the most masculine alphas in the whole fucking world. And so the first thing, they think of as an insult is to call you a faggot, or an incel. Living in your mom's basement, that was one, Well, maybe one day when you grow up and get out of your mom's basement, while I'm sitting in the top floor of my building, looking at the sky, mom's dead, 58. Oh, the internet. Oh my God. Engaging in type is just such a foolish activity. Fighting in type with strangers on the internet, so foolish. Fighting about shopping carts. Oh. First world problems doesn't even begin to describe. I mean, that's the good news here, right? Apparently, life is so good, and there is so much abundance despite how much we want to complain. Life is actually so good that we can dedicate considerable time and resources to fighting. Online, not in the parking lot. Online, about the parking lot. The absurdity in that is just insane. But yeah, you're not doing any favors by allowing these corporations to keep cutting costs and denying service. And that's what it is, Costco, I looked this up. Costco, all of these big chains, and we're mostly talking about these big chains, had huge profits, Walmart's like 20 billion profits last year. 20 billion profits last year. You don't think they can afford guys to make the shopping cart trains? These joyous, wonderful creatures who collect carts. These wonderful teenagers with their toilet bowl haircuts, just making shopping cart trains in the parking lot, a source of joy for decades. Who doesn't like a shopping cart train? Who doesn't? Evil people, that's who doesn't. And they want those to disappear. I say, fuck you. No. They can afford it. They can do it. They can afford to make things fast, friendly, and efficient. They don't need to have, you don't need to wait behind 10 customers at a snail's pace. Well, we got to check this again. Beep, beep, it's not scanning. Beep, beep, it's not scanning. Can you go run back and check? And somebody has to run all the way to fucking back of, 10 miles of Walmart to find a price because apparently they can't look it up anymore, That doesn't have to happen. That's cost cutting. That's to inflate their profits, And you can vote with your feet, you can vote with your wallet, and you can vote with your cart. You can vote with your attitude. You can have a snotty attitude if you want. You can. It's okay if somebody makes you miserable to make them miserable back. It is okay to be a mirror. Go ahead and put your best foot forward. That's what I try to do. I try to put my best foot forward. I try to go into a situation hoping the best and trying to be charming. But if somebody has different plans and they decide that they're going to resist my efforts and they're going to treat me poorly, boy, oh boy, do I have the personality for that. I can meet you and I can match you, and I have the stamina to outlast you when it comes to being a fucking asshole. Okay? But it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. Just put your best foot forward too. Okay? You're probably going to get your cart back. In fact, I love the way Europe does it. I don't like the way Europe does a lot of things. Well, I've seen this here too. Have you ever seen the shopping carts where you put money in to get it and you get money back? That's almost right. But I think the best way to do it would be to, when you bag up your groceries, they put it in a cart, it's free. And then you take it back And then if you bring it back, you put it in and you get $1, 50 cents or whatever the fuck it is. And if you don't want to, well, somebody else just got a free $1. They just got a free $1. They find your cart. It would become like a way of tipping the parking lot guy to hand him the cart rather than taking the cart back yourself. He gets the $1. It's like, here you go, sir. Would you like my cart? Would you? Yes, I would. That extra $1 would be fantastic for me. Thank you very much. So there are ways of mitigating this without having a fucking shopping cart Karen screeching at me. Put on your mask. Put back your cart. Get in line, you fucking, And that's what that is. So if you came into this conversation thinking you're some kind of fucking hero because you put your cart back, well, guess what? You're a virtue signaling cunt. That's what you are. Well, not if you put back your cart, but if you demand that somebody else put back their cart because you don't want to have to maneuver your car around it or maneuver your little feetsies. You can't take a step to the left.
Oh, I can't touch the handle of somebody else's cart to move it out of the way so I can park. Oh, if I have to get out of my car to do that.
Yeah, fuck you. I have opinions about this shit, as you can tell. They're making enough money. They can pay. You don't have to take it. We don't have to sit here and just accept every single step towards a zero service economy. We don't. You don't have to. It's coming. They're going to want you to start washing your sheets. I see this on Airbnb, honestly. I see people. I have an Airbnb, and I'm a fantastic host, by the way. Got a 5-star rating because I know how to serve people. I do. I know how to deal with customers. I know how to keep them happy. I also know how to deal with bad customers, and I won't get into that here. But I don't let bad customers take advantage of me either. I know how to mitigate. I know how to keep things equal. If you think you're going to fuck me over, if you think you're going to keep me on the line and make me go through a bunch of hold menus and deny me a service that you promised, if you're going to trick me into something like that, I will extract value from your business, whether or not you want me to or not. If you fuck me over, I will make it even. I am compelled to do that. I'm that kind of Karen. There are lots of different kinds of Karens. That's the other thing about the Karen debate. There are different kinds of Karens. There's the shopping cart Karens, the Kovid Karens, and then there are the Karens that look out their window to make sure criminals aren't spray painting the buildings. I like that kind of Karen. I like the kind of Karen that talks to the manager when something goes wrong, when one of the employees is bad. I like that kind of Karen. Anyway, if there's one way to ruin your reputation, it's by simply saying, I don't automatically return the shopping cart because it depends. And I think it's that phrase, it depends, that annoys so many people, especially the authoritarians. No wiggle room, no nuance, just fucking do it. Anyway, I'm not going to do it. And that's enough for this recording. Put your best foot forward. Nudge the world in a better direction. Use all your abilities to do that. If you see a company that's treating people poorly, that's treating their workers poorly, if you see a company that's firing the shopping cart boy and getting rid of the shopping cart trains, do your part. Okay? Make the world a better place. Thanks for listening. Unnecessary outro song to